it ain't that stiff, but it's like very compact. I'm putting these loose hairs somewhere so they can have a place and don't start forming locks. Hi, my beautiful people. It is time for me to separate my roots. If this is your first time watching, I'm Isis and I'm on a semi-freeform journey, and my locks actually turn 4 years old in a couple days. So I'm in the mood to separate my roots. It has been probably at least a month. I can't actually remember how long it's been since I went in and separated my roots, but I've really been loving doing Bantu knots to make like some nice juicy curls. I always do like curls, braid outs, or twist outs to separate my roots without doing a retwist. And so I'm going to show you how I go into these roots and separate them and stretch them out so my hair is not so stiff. I mean, it ain't that stiff, but it's like very compact, and you can see. So every once in a while, not on a schedule, I like to separate my roots so that they don't get married together, and so they can stay separate in their sections, but also still have some volume, you feel me? So first thing I'm gonna do is put my water mixture together. Today, I'm gonna be using sea moss water and clove water. And then a little bit of spring water. Got my spray bottle. Do smell like sea moss. I really just put this much in there. Whenever I'm putting curls or like a braid out or a twist out in my hair, I always just use water, whether it's plain water, this water, rose water, whatever it is. I set my hair with water and I just let it dry and it always comes out. I don't use mousse or gel or cream or nothing. And I don't really need a full bottle of water, so I don't think. I don't get my hair too wet because I do want it to dry, so it's not gonna be soaking wet, just wet enough for my hair to dry and mold in the curls I want them to. A little bit of water, because that sea moss water is a little thick. Now it smells like cloves. So I got my rubber bands. I usually use like 2 rubber bands per Bantu knot to hold them in. And then always before I get into styling my hair, I always go in and brush it to get rid of any lint that's just sitting on the surface. And because it feels good and it's good for my scalp. I like to try to go in between each row, really focusing around the scalp, but I do go down my locks to just try to loosen up any lint. I brushed my hair a couple of days ago, so I don't need to go in too crazy. And so one of the main reasons also like that comes with separating my roots is putting these loose hairs somewhere so they can have a place and don't start forming locks in their own little sections. So I'm gonna get them to go into some of these locks around here. And that's really my main thing right now, is keeping my roots together. So I'm just gonna start off by misting my hair just a little bit, and then I'll split it up. Clove just smells so good. All right. A lot of time when I'm doing my hair, I'm literally just feeling around just to figure out what to do. And I'll also use a mirror. So this, yeah. All right, that's enough separation for me. Now I'm just gonna dab in my hair a little bit more. And we're gonna leave this little wisdom lock I got started right here. We're gonna leave that one out. So when I do my Bantu knots, I like to do in 3 or in 2s. So on the back, I'm definitely gonna do them in 3s. It looks like I got the roots together for the most part. And so then I literally just lightly twist them together very softly. I'm even loosening it if I feel like it's too tight. And then I start to wrap around that, and I keep twisting. I twist downwards or clockwise, I think, and wrap at the same time, but also not getting it too tight, because it will not be comfortable if you make them too tight. Just twist. All right. And then I take like 2 rubber bands. Put it on there. And then I'll take another one just to make sure it's secure. Just kind of wrap it around wherever, just to have it. Make sure it stays in the ball. Now, these loose hairs right here, I'm about to like tuck them into my roots. And hopefully that'll get them to figure out where they need to go. So yeah, and I'm gonna do this side like that too. These loose hairs, I'm just about to just tuck them in there. Like that. Okay. Spray some more water. Squeeze that water into. Okay. And this also helps stretch out my roots temporarily. Give my hair a little more length than usual. Some more hairs to tuck into this. Okay. And now I'm about to just twist. Twist. Slightly twist. And then start turning it around itself while still twisting all 3 locks together. Not too tight. Just wrapping it, twisting them so they stay together, and wrapping. Wrap until you can't wrap no more. And then grab these rubber bands. And I put one on the base. And then another one, like around the whole entire Bantu knot. And that should do it. I got some more loose hairs to tuck in. So these right here, I'm about to literally just push them into these roots. And then this loose hair, push it into these roots. These, they already in. A little bit of spray. There's some of my chunkiest locks too, right here. Squeeze that water in. Light little twist. And then start wrapping around itself. Twist and wrap. All right, so we got the crown, light twist, and then start wrapping around itself. Twisting these and wrapping them. Twist and a wrap. Okay, so I just got 2 more Bantu knots to do. Almost done. This is what we looking like. Spray our section. Get it pretty damp. All right. I'll start off with a light twist, downwards or clockwise, and then start wrapping around. While twisting. All the way. On the bottom, this part, make sure we're bent so it holds the ends in place. Just adjust it right there. And then one more to make sure it's really secure. And I do it like around the Bantu knot, like up and down. There we go. Should stay in place. The last one, spray a little water. Squeeze. Undo our twist. Start wrapping it around itself. Try not to get it too tight. It's gonna tighten up as you twist. Just keep on twisting and wrapping until you can't no more. And try to get those ends tucked at the bottom of the Bantu knot. Right. And then we're gonna get our rubber band and make sure it's sitting at the base to keep the ends from coming undone. And then we're gonna get one more in there. Do it like this. Just wrap it around the whole thing. See if we can get this jewel to peek out a little bit. There we go. Got our little jewel peeking out. I am gonna let these air dry. I always let my hair air dry. But that's it. I think I got, since I have 36 locks, this should be 12 Bantu knots. So I'm gonna sleep in these and then I will be back tomorrow for the takedown. Okay, so it is the next day and I had somewhere to go, so I didn't want to try and talk and take down my hair at the same time. But this is the takedown. I believe I left my hair to dry overnight and it was probably for about 10 to 15 hours total, and I did sit in the sun for a little bit, not too long though. My roots were kind of tangled when I was taking down this first one because there's a lot of loose hairs in that back area, and I obviously didn't retwist and I didn't tuck in the loose hairs like I did on some of the sections. So I'm just extra careful when I get to the root part, just so I'm making sure I'm not ripping any of my hair. These curls usually last for about 3 to 5 days, and around like day 4 and day 5 it's much more looser, but you can still see a little bit of curl. This is my favorite method for curling my hair. Let me know if you give it a try. It's really like 2 styles in one because you can wear the Bantu knots for a couple of days if you want to. If you're in between retwist or just don't want to retwist, I encourage you to give this method a try. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. Until next time, peace.
Keep on